Tony?
Yes, my name is Tony McManus. I'm a resident here in Ocean Shores. And a question for both of you, although Mr. Gordon has made pretty clear his position on it, he can elucidate on that some. And that is the question of Bakken crude. Understanding that the Commissioner's office doesn't have the final say, but they do have considerable influence and can help sway decisions one way or another. I would like to know the stance, and I'm sure all the voters would like to know the stance that each of you hold concerning Bakken crude oil by rail coming into the harbor, especially with the fisheries and the aquaculture that we have here in the harbor that currently pay a very large part of our tax base. I'd like to know where each of you stand on that without resorting to, well, we'll give it further study.
Well, I personally got out here with a gas-driven car, okay? So it would be silly for me to say that I don't support oil in some way, or else I couldn't drive my car. Now, having said that, I also work in an industry that I do business with fishermen and tourist people every day. So it's important we have good infrastructure in place to deal with whatever we have. County commissioners have no say-so over whether Bakken crude or anything else is transported over the federal railway system. I serve on the Aberdeen Planning Commission. This issue was addressed to the Aberdeen Planning Commission. And we looked at not only Bakken crude, but what are the other things that are coming through our community? There's far worse stuff coming through our community, not in the quantity that Bakken crude was proposed to do, but that it could be just equally as devastating to our economy. Locally, we've got the cities have passed moratoriums, so they're doing what they can do. Again, as a county commissioner, I have no effect on that. I drive a gas car, so I can't in good conscience say I don't support oil. I don't care whether it's Bakken crude or not. That's how I get around. Our local economy depends on oil and gas. You know, they can't run the logging trucks up and down the road. They can't operate the commercial fishing vessels. Brady Engvall can't go out in his boat and pick up his oysters without starting up a combustion engine. You know, so I hope that just explains exactly where we're at. Transportation-wise, again, I have no control over it. So, do I personally like to see mile-long oil trains coming through the community? Probably not. It's a pain in the butt, but it's also the lifeblood. That rail system is the lifeblood of our economy.
Okay, well, you guys know I am against it, and while we have no authority over it, we do have a moral authority. We have them oil trains passing along the river. We'll talk about farmers. If we have a spill in there in the wintertime, the fields are covered with oil, the fields are gone forever. They said studies just on pasture land, 10, 20 years before you could reduce the pasture land. But even so, when it comes through Morley for me, it comes through Elmore, it goes through Porter, one of these here places, we could have a spill. People say, well, it's not going to happen. We had in Central Park, they dumped all them cars of soy flour. Now, if it could have been oil, we wouldn't be worrying about this right now because fishing would be gone. You know, the heavy crude that they're bringing in here, they do not have the ability or the skill or the tools to take it up off the bottom. Right now, we have one of the biggest Dungeness crab nurseries in the whole west coast of the United States is out here in Grays Harbor Bay. We have the orchard people. We're spending millions of dollars to try to improve the environment for fish and everything else in here. Jobs, they say it's going to make jobs. Now, the last number from the port is approximately, on the one place left open, is 12 jobs. Of which 3 would be extra train crews. Well, 12 jobs to me is not worth the chance of losing 2,300 jobs. And that doesn't count if that oil goes up in the beaches. There goes your tourism too. So morally and everything for me, I drive a car too, I burn oil, but there's a couple kinds of crude that they're gonna ship to us. And remember, they used to say it's only for our own places, now they passed a law that we can ship it to China and every place else. It's the thing for me is the heavy crude will go to the bottom, they have no way of cleaning it, they admit it so. The light oil that they're coming down here from fracking is more explosive than gasoline. And you know, and for me, just the thought, you know, it goes by close enough in Elma, for example, I was there, it shakes the windows in people's bedrooms. And we had an accident, we had a train roll over by Quiggs and Aberdeen, parked. And it just tipped over and they rolled over on their side, the one out there in Central Park. I'm pro-train, I'm pro-jobs. I hope we get down here. The kind of jobs I'm pro for at the port is like shipping cars and shipping stuff like that. That creates lots of jobs. There's over 100 Teamster jobs just by shipping cars. If we want to keep the trains coming, even though they're a pain in the butt when they block you off when you're at the mall, that's fine. But for me, myself, I am against it. I would sign any letter. I stand with the Coalition for Clean Harbor. I stand with the Quinault Nation in their lawsuit, and that's where I stand on oil.
Thank you, Jim. Richard?
So, the need for economic growth is evident. We've got to have more money. So it's easy to say, I support economic growth. I would like to hear some specific ideas of how you are going to produce economic growth.
Oh, well, you know, there's a couple of things I've been working on. One of them is we've been, and it kind of got put on hold for a little bit because we had public works structures change and all kinds of things, like you said. But one of the things is that Hogan's Corner, right here close to you guys down here, we did a whole bunch of test drilling out there at Hogan's Corner to see if we could put a sewer plant in there. And it would be a combination one, if you guys have been the one up at Pacific Beach, it goes through, it takes the solids out and this, and then it sends the water out, and there's lagoons, the water evaporates and goes in. The soil will handle that, it wouldn't leach into the bay. So that's one development, because we have a lot of housing, we have some commercial development there that could be, if we had a sewer system, because septic will not handle it, the state won't allow it to go. The Quinault tribe's really interested in that. I keep saying tribe, and I apologize, I've been with the Chehalis all over the last couple of days. The Quinault Nation, they're really interested. They own some of the land in Hogan's Corner to expand. There's been talk about, even for example, they wanted to make Q-Mart into like a bigger, more of a grocery store type chain and expand that there. So that's one I've been pushing hard on that. Another one is up East County, that we've been doing some studies and looking at running the water line from Montesano on up to Brady. There's a strip between the state highway and the county road that runs in there. Well, that's a commercial strip in there, and with water, a lot of businesses could develop in there. And there's a second plus that goes with that water line. Across the road, there's lots of residents, and they're trapped in this 5-acre limbo they have to build. With a water line, that would allow them, say a lot of people willing to retire or maybe have kids move in close to them, they could split that in 2.5-acre plots. And because of having that there water, it gives them the ability to develop home building in there. And then the other strip, if you guys don't know exactly where it's at, where Bond Pumps is, when you drive in, you see that in there, that strip from Brady back, that whole strip would be perfect economic development. A state highway, a county highway, a railroad, all down through there. The land is already set. We just need water. And I've been working with our new public works director to get that going. That would create some nice jobs.
Economic development is one of the most important things we can do. The county has very few tools to use at their disposal currently. So the most important tool they currently have is the .09 funds. And those are funds that are paid back to the county from the state of Washington to be used strictly for economic development. They can be used for both a private project or a public project, depending on how the vote is. The other things that are available to us need to be, again, educated to the people that want to invest in here, and those are tax breaks and tax credits when it comes to deferred sales tax on the purchase of industrial equipment. We can also go to the state and ask for deferred property tax on improvements for a 10-year period for certain things. But we need more of those things. We need to go to Olympia and talk to our legislatures and promote rural Washington in general, not just Grays Harbor County, for additional tools to attract infrastructure and development down here. We've for many, many years tried to get that large 2, 3, 4, 500 person employer to come in, and those are once in a lifetime things. We've seen more of those come out than come in. Matter of fact, the only one that you can even attribute to coming in is Cosmo Specialty Fibers when they came in and reopened the plant. So we're more likely to get economic development in little batches, 1s and 2s, 10% growth in a business in a year, and keep investing in it that way. But it's important that we have and maintain good infrastructure, that good roads, good schools, good hospital systems, good transportation. Those are things that will help attract industry. The I-5 corridor, it has to find us. We have a highway between Olympia and Aberdeen that runs at 10% capacity, and there's a highway between Olympia and Seattle that runs at 250% capacity. You know, those are the people we need to figure out how to convince them to come and move to rural Washington, Grays Harbor County specifically, and create jobs down here. None of our cities are having surplus budgets. They're always under budgeted, underfunded. Too many things to go on the table. So moving forward, you know, we just need to, again, work with Olympia, work with our local legislators, keep promoting economic development in Washington, and then do what we can to do with the .09 funds we have, and see if we can keep increasing those.
Can I have a follow-on comment?
Actually, Richard, we have a lot of people and our time is
Thank you.
limited, so I will put you down for secondary if we get there. Randy?
Moving a little away from the economic, but still there, the North Beach represents 34% of the tax base of the county. Ocean Shores is 21%. We've talked about Brady, we've talked about Westport, we've talked about everywhere but here where we are. And we're sort of like this island out here with, I'll call it, a lack of county services. And currently Hogan's Corner is for sale for $995,000. It has an airport, 221 acres, and would be a perfect, I'll call it, regional center, because it's also high enough for tsunami, for not only a auxiliary county commissioner's office, so we don't have to drive for county meetings to Montesano an hour to get things they're dealing with out here. Number one, you could be like the circuit for circuit judges, where they move their meeting to one place to another and actually represent the whole county and people. Sheriff's office could be there. The hospital, we already discussed that, as Don brought up. We don't have anything out here. Why not that as the regional center and have a hospital facility there? And also Timberland Library. We are the library, Ocean Shores. We taxpayers here pay for our own little library that supports the whole North Beach out of our tax dollars, not the North Beach or Timberland, okay, or the county. And we all pay the same $1.79 or so per thousand to the county, even though we have our city taxes. But we all pay the same, be it in the county or in the city, the same amount of dollars to the county. So it's, I'm asking, can it be done? Would you even do proper prior planning to bring that to the west side of the county?
At the current state of the county budget, I don't see anything happening in the near future that would promote that idea. What I do see happening is trying to accomplish that meeting goal with technology. Again, we can Skype in anywhere. So what we need is a place in the city of Ocean Shores and Westport and Aberdeen where citizens can go and become a part of the meeting and then ask questions that come up. Right now, the county has a wonderful system where you can at least go in and watch the meeting as it goes on. And they can do live streaming. So that's a wonderful thing that the county has provided the citizenry. We just need to take it to the next step, which I think is more affordable and cost effective than building a whole new building structure out here, although it would be great for Ocean Shores. I just don't see it as a feasible part of the plan in the near future. Right now, we're going to dip into the deficits, or dip into the reserves for the deficit, so I don't know that that's going to happen. I believe those other things, yeah, we need to find a way, again, go back to technology and support the needs for other services out here. The hospital district, we've already talked about that. You have to talk to the hospital district. Again, we as county commissioners can be your advocates with you to them, okay, to do something out here, but that's a decision that has to be made by the hospital district because it's a voted in public municipal district. We move that.
Okay, you know, and everything he said is 100% true. The one other thing that did going on, and you talked about Hogan's Corner and all that, like I just told you before, we did the test. We are working, we're trying to work with a nation now to go ahead and put in this there because they have interest there too. That piece of property would move and develop quite quickly with the sewer system there. It has a good water system now, which is run by that county. If we get a sewer system in there then, you know, having a sewer system and a water system drops insurance rates. It does all kinds of things. It makes the land really, really well. So that's something, Randy, not this Randy, but either one of you Randys that we can definitely holler at to get things done. And going on him thing on technology to be involved. If we do, you know, your public library or even this place is a meeting room like that, we could Skype to people here. Not even a problem. We happen in the county, we use Skype to save money. We had an attorney that come down all the time on different issues when we get sued. We have an hour area. She come down from Bellingham, and boy, that's a long drive. She was paying, so we bought a big screen TV, and everybody thought we were going to watch football games. But we put up the ability to Skype in there, and that thing, counting all the setup, was about $1,800. It paid for itself her first trip, and so there is a ability for us to do that. You talk back and forth. You can look and see if they got it sitting on their nose or whatever they got. I mean, everything's there. You can talk, and I definitely agree. I would like to see something like that. You know, bring it up to the other commissioners too, so we all have an idea. There's that need down here. It's not a big technological advance. It's something we can do, but making things better for down here on the beach right now. We are looking at sewer. On you guys taking care of the library for the rest of the beach right now, all I can say as a county is thank you. I appreciate that. You doing that, like he says, we're tight. I do have one correction. Our last business finance thing, we are no longer $1 million short. We're $600,000 short. We had some extra funding come in from state timber sales and that, which helped us a lot. In case you're curious on that public safety tax, there's no money coming to the county till March. The tax doesn't go into effect till January. It takes a couple months for it to come. So that's not going to be a boost to the county anytime soon.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Judy?
Well, all my topics have gone, but I'll pick another one back here. What can be done and what is being done at the county level to stimulate grassroots participation in broad-based economic development for the county? Entrepreneurs, agriculture, getting the people involved in raising themselves rather than waiting for government structure to filter down and take care of them. That's for the
Judy, it sounds like a chicken or egg question.
It is too.
But, you know, individual citizens have to take it upon their own initiative to get involved in the process. I can't drag somebody to a meeting and make them do anything. So if it's not important that you have economic development here, I can't do anything to do that. If it is important, I can be there to help support you in that effort. Most cities at this point in time rely on another agency to do their economic development. And it's poorly funded, even though they do the best they can. The city of Hoquiam, I think, has cut their funding to the Greater Grace Harbor for economic development to like $3,700 a year. The county, I think, is at 15.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that.
Plus
way.
the other
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
The port is at 20, the PUD is at 20, Grace Harbor Community Hospital is at 10 or 15. We're talking very few dollars to help grow economic development in the county. So what the county can do is put more funds towards that effort to make sure it's more viable and keep telling the story of Grace Harbor County, to keep working with the port and private landowners to make sure we have shovel-ready sites ready for industry and other development. But that takes time, energy, and money. The county is lacking the money. We can put the time and the energy in, and that will help solve it over time.
Okay, basically everything he said is true. There is some economic things going on that are boosting. And one thing I'm gonna do a big deal on is the master gardeners. Okay, we all know that they help people grow new programs. We have some organic growers now, people on small plots, 4, 5, 6, 10 acres in there now, that are growing food organically and getting certified and making decent livings. Some of them, we got one couple that come down there from Bellevue, they become master gardeners. In fact, one of them was a lawyer, and now they're out here on the road, coming out here. They have a farm going, they're making a decent living. We have other people down here that's, what's Tom, what are they growing there now? That?
Tom?
Tom, did
Oh, the heather.
no, it's not Heather.
No,
Lavender.
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 Okay, there's a thing that they come on, it's not even that they're big, and I didn't think. They had their last festival down here. Here's something that's from Master Gardeners again, learning. They had 1,700 people show up on a Saturday and Sunday for their lavender. Well, them people went different places to go. He said they set up one of them square D charge card thing. They had people 5 deep standing in line. The cars couldn't run fast enough for the amount they sold. And all of a sudden, they got groups on the East Coast coming to them and saying, can we buy some of this from you? There is these little pockets, we have to encourage people. And the reason why I'm so big for stuff like that is because there's young people getting involved. So there's people coming here that want to stay on the farm. They don't want to go out here and plow 200 acres a day of land, but they have these specialty plots. Organic is something that I think would be one of many things here that would help us grow. And the thing that excites me is bring young people to the harbor. Our young people get schooling, and that's bye-bye. And we need to keep the kids here.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have reached our appointed time, and I see there is still interest. There are people who have not asked their question yet. I'm going to complete the list. I'm going to ask everybody to be very brief, single-pointed question, very brief answers. And if I see interest in the group, I will continue with the second round of questions from individuals. With that, Lily.
Simple, straightforward question. In the past, the county has resorted to road levy shift, where cities like Ocean Shores have had the burden for county road maintenance shifted to us. Is that an economic ploy that either of you would consider in balancing the budget?
No, when the first year we was in, we was already doing that. And I agreed to do it another year at a lesser rate, and then the year after that, it was a smaller rate. Sometimes, you know, it's actually what you call robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of thing.
No, robbing us.
Well, the cities, but it's such a small amount from each citizen. I know it's not, maybe it's not fair. You get stuck an extra $4 or $5, so I can agree with there. I'm against that kind of taxes too. It was one of the things that we did at the time, so that there was enough money in the general fund. There was one time there was enough not to cover checks, and so it was kind of like the lesser of two evils. They didn't really have a choice, and that's the reason why it was done. It was done before, it started before I was in there. It was done by when Mike Wilson and Terry Willis, and I think Al Carter was still in there. No, or maybe Herb was in. But anyway, that's when it started, but they was actually broke. They could not cover checks.
So the quick response, no, it's not fair, it probably won't change soon.
That's
Thank
what
you,
you
gentlemen.
get.
Jude.
Good job.
It's every so often we have a front page article in the Daily World concerning homelessness. I'd like to know what your idea of the county commissioner's role would be in trying to solve the problem.
Well, it is not just a city problem, it's a county-wide problem, it's a statewide problem. I believe the county has an excellent department in place with the Public Health District, and they have a plan that they're trying to work. I believe the first part of helping homelessness is to try to work the plan. Those people that don't think the plan is sufficient enough, they should get involved and try to change the plan. It is a multifaceted, complicated problem, because it's not just, homelessness is created by something. It's either economic, social, or a lot of times it's mental. And there's not a quick solution. The homeless plan currently that's in place uses a situation of trying to identify who's homeless and what caused their homelessness. That's a complicated, it's not a very efficient process, but it is in place. I think we need to let it germinate, see if it's gonna work, keep checking back with it, modifying it. I live in the city of Aberdeen, and I work right downtown. It is not a pleasant place to walk around downtown during the day. And a lot of these people aren't violent, they're not mean. Some of them are a little bit weird. But, you know, we need to do something to help them out. But again, it's not just a Grace Harbor County problem, it's a statewide problem. And there's no quick, easy solutions. I think the county currently has 1.7 million in their homelessness fund, 1719, I can't remember, somewhere in there. And that's being spent towards those solutions. And again, the county has a plan. Let's see if the plan works. If the plan doesn't work, let's tweak it and keep working on it.
Okay, you know, and one of the problems, first, you see so many homeless here, and one of the reasons we have so many here, you know, county-wise, and Yakima County has the same problem, because economically we're the cheapest place to live. I know it don't seem that way. So say I talk to one individual downtown, he gets $550 a month. That's his supplement to live on. Well, he come down from Pierce County. Okay, up there, that's not even gonna get you a flop house for a week up there. Down here, he can eat, he still sleeps under the bridge, but he can't. So the people come down here because they get the biggest bang for their buck. The state's not packing them down here. The state might say the cheapest places to live are blah, 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 but they're not shipping them down here to us. But mental illness is a problem. Our county has a program we're working on mental illness. One of the big handicaps we have is housing for people. There's people that are homeless out there living in cars. Talked to a couple ladies this morning when I did my morning run. They're living in their car because they can't afford the cheapest rent. And the thing is that we don't have as many rental units as we need in Aberdeen Hokum. Part of the reason is that somebody wants to go get a loan from the bank to fix a place up so they can rent it. We have so many empty houses in Aberdeen Hokum. They can't, because of this FEMA flood thing, they cannot you know, if they get a loan from the bank, I know people that tried to buy places, their FEMA insurance would be as much or higher than their loan payment. You cannot financially afford to do that. They have a program that they're working on with Forteria called Timber Works, where we're gonna dike that through part of the area. It will drop us off of FEMA, like South Aberdeen, which will either get rid of it or cut the rates down to a point where people can afford to remodel these here homes and bring them back. But the engineers and the architects and the technical people from Forteria say anywhere from 5 to 10 years. So even to get the housing, and you know, and then like he's right, we have that amount of money, but the state's guidelines are really narrow. You can only spend, they can say you can only walk down this path. You can't do a little change or a little tweaking. And so that really handicaps the use of the money too. So it's a really a king-size program. I think, like he says, with this 10-year plan, that we can get this Forteria, this dike in, we can get some few things in. We're gonna make a dent. But you know, when I was a kid, the homeless used to come to our house and my dad would give them chores and give them a sandwich and something to eat. There was always homeless. Right now, Aberdeen has issue, Hokim's starting to now. Aberdeen has issue 1, we need places where they can go to the bathroom. You know, I went to Seattle to go to a job show, and I was wearing a suit, and I couldn't get any place to let me use the bathroom. It was unbelievable. Well, guess what? Guess who run down the alley with the rest of the homeless? You didn't have a choice. Well, now you go in there and you say, well, do you see this person urinating on the wall? Where's he supposed to go? So, you know, there's some things we can do to make homeless not as bad, but it's a long process, like Randy said, and we're really handicapped by a lot of things that's slowing us down.
One quick comment. The good thing about the 10-year plan, that you just totally looked at every 10 years, doesn't mean you can't address it every year.
Right. Oh yeah, true. That's very, very true. Yep.
Thank you. Is there anyone who has not had an opportunity to ask a question of the candidates who would care to? Seeing none, we will go to our second round. I have 4 people. We're going to limit it to those 4 people. Very, very quick, under 1 minute, correct, single question, 1 minute responses. With that, Al.
Yep. Real quick, how much time are either one of you willing to commit to this job by the week?
Oh, well, right now, on an average, counting the meetings and stuff like that, we went down, I run 50, 60 hours a week. I don't always love working that many hours a week, but being so many meetings and stuff are in the evening time, and you're up at the office or you're at that call, I found out, that's the reason why I shut my business down. I took the job, I figured I could still do my business part-time. I could not, and all honestly, put in that kind of hours, I wouldn't have a wife, because I would never be home. And so I'd say I average 50, 60 hours a week right now.
And my short answer is, I'll put in as much time as it takes, whether that's 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours. It might only be 30 hours some week, but the plan is to be a commissioner.
Thank you. Susan?
I'd like to go back to the marijuana and the money that's sitting in the state. And I know that I've heard you say that you spend a lot of time at the Capitol.
Yeah.
Why hasn't anyone been championing yet to get that money? And what would be the process? One of you decides that that's something to put on your plate and you go? Do you hire lobbyists to do some of these things, to champion to get these funds released? How does it work?
I don't think there's going to be any shortage of people trying to get at that money. You know where the biggest pot shot, the most revenue pot shot is in the Grace Harbor County? Porter.
Porter. Yeah, they really broke through.
You can go online, I have to get the website, but you can actually look at the revenue that's generated by each one of those. Believe me, people will be coming out of the woodworks to get the money. It's just a matter of time, because the state's not gonna sit idly by. What I'm afraid is gonna happen is that our state legislature will determine to use it at a state level and not use it at a local funding level.
Right.
So that's where we can be champions at the local level, testifying, contacting our friends in Olympia and making sure we get some use of that down here, because that's some significant dollars for our area.
Okay, and my answer is what he said's true. The second thing we have a problem, it's called the McClary decision. They're sitting on $1 for that, and then we just had a second decision by a federal court saying that the state has to start taking care of opening up salmon barriers on all these streams. And that's a bigger even price tag than the price tag for the McClary school decision. And let me tell you what, they're not gonna turn any of their money loose until their two things are done. The federal one is brand spanking new, the last month, and the McClary decision is that darn gone sharp axe hanging over all the legislators' heads. That's why they're hanging. They're trying to find a way to steal that money from us, the taxpayer, and put it in their school. That's just being honest about it.
Thank you. George?
Thank you. I've lived in Grace Harbor County for 20+ years now, and we have a farm in East County where they're building a drag strip track at the airport across the river from us, and they want to run 2 weekends a month from April to October. It's so loud you can hardly, I can't stand it. It's the kind of noise that makes people go out and get guns and start shooting people. I mean, it's just incredibly terrible. And I've asked one of the commissioner candidates who's not here, and they said that, gee, I would like to have that built right next to my house. I love those racetracks so much. And I said, well, I'll sell you my farm and I can grant your wish. But do you have a position on that? I've already had a big argument with Commissioner Gordon about it, but I'm kind of looking for your position, and then he can say his, so.
Oh, okay, mine,
First.
you know something? I think that, it is private property, people should be allowed to go under, but I do think for the peace of the neighbors, they have what they call sound barrier fencing. They could put, is it gonna be better? No, but I think there's a way to meet in the middle if it will bring income. I understand what he's saying. I heard him when they got out here, they did a run last year, and I was way down past where he lives, and I thought they was in my backyard. But they do have, the state of Washington uses these sound walls now, and you can stand outside the wall and not even hear what's on the other side. I think, when business comes in, whether it's gonna put pollution in the river or gonna do different things, there's things they have to do. I think on this racetrack there that they should do things to accommodate the neighbors, just like they wouldn't want to put sewer on their neighbor's land. Well, noise is sewer too, so they're going to have to do things to make so the neighbors can live with it.
My personal opinion is I wouldn't want to live next to it either, George. The legal way to do it, I think it's a conditional use permit at the county at that level. So I know it's already gone in front of a hearings examiner, the decision, I don't know if it's been made yet, hopefully it'll become here every day. I know staff had recommended against the usage. So if it was me living there, I would want to support that. If I was running the racetrack, I'd want to find other ways to deal with it. So I think it's a process you have to go through, and I think the county, if the conditional use is permitted, then I think the county needs to put in the requirements to, again, alleviate as much of the effects as possible. It's like somebody that buys a property next to the airport, you expect a certain level of activity. You're not expecting a racetrack there, so it's, what do you do? There's no good answer to it. But again, if I was you, I'd be selling my land to that commissioner.
Bring your money, Frank.
There we go.
Final question of the morning is Richard.
I pass.
Richard passes. Well, Candidates, we thank you very much. You've given us some very good information, some good insight into your viewpoints. We really appreciate your presence. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We have 4 agenda items that we're going to discuss and talk and howl and write